Hello there ladies and gentlemen, this is Game Chef from Overly Dank Name. I have 2 questions for all of my viewers. Are you transphobic? Am I transphobic? Well, today, we will be answering these questions by watching the video, Are You Being Transphobic? LGBTQ+ Guide to Being a Better Ally, Parts 1 and 2, by 7800.
Hello, my name is Erin and today we are going to unpack some common forms of transphobia. We all make mistakes and we are all human. And we most likely have all been transphobic from time to time.
Let's just say, I'm transphobic a little more than, from time to time.
Even me, a non-binary trans person, has been transphobic in my past. But if you have clicked on this video, then your heart is probably in the right place. This video is just a starting ground to reflect on what it means to be transphobic and how we all as individuals can do better. So in the next 2 videos, we are going to talk about 5 phrases and then 5 behaviors that are really common but are actually quite transphobic. And we're also going to discuss solutions on how to avoid them.
I hate to start commenting before they explain, but isn't this what you guys want? Don't you want people to ask for your pronouns? Because, last time I checked, you freak out when somebody makes a mistake and calls you the wrong pronouns.
You're gonna give me my fucking money back. Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am. You need to settle down and mind your business, okay? Ma'am. Once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
Talking about someone's preferred pronouns is actually quite problematic because you are saying that a trans person's pronouns are a preference rather than their lived reality.
A person's pronouns are a preference. If you prefer they/them, I can't stop you, and I will respect your preference, but it's not like someone can't go up to you and call you a he or she.
You'll notice that we don't say this to cisgender people, people who identify with the gender identity they were assigned at birth.
I am a cisgender person, I was born with a penis and identify as male, and I still think using he/him is a preference. You could still call me a she or a they, and my lived reality doesn't fall apart.
When a cisgender person says that they are a man and use he/him pronouns, for example, we tend to accept that as the truth, but when a trans person shares their pronouns, this then turns into a choice. The reality is that nobody chooses their pronouns.
You do choose your pronouns. Even though he/him is what I am most comfortable with, I could wake up tomorrow and ask everybody I know to call me a they/them, and those would be my pronouns from that point forwards. I mean, that's what you did, right?
There is only their actual identity. My pronouns are they, them, and these are the only pronouns that you can use to refer to me. This isn't my preference.
Oh, okay. Sorry, sir.
So what's the fix for this? Normalize talking about pronouns, just not whether they're preferred or not. I understand that saying someone passes is often meant as a compliment, but this statement insinuates that passing as a cisgender person is good, whereas looking trans is bad. This statement implies that it's a blessing not to look trans.
I'm just gonna be honest. It is.
But there are several problems with this. Firstly, what does a trans person look like?
Welcome to the first episode of Making a Trans Person. The first thing you need is hair dyed to an obnoxious neon color. Typically blue, but any color can work if it makes you want to pour bleach in your eyes just so you can never see it again. The next thing you will need is a haircut that looks a little something like this. Mix them together. Perfect. The second ingredient of a trans person is to make it obvious that the person is trans. No modesty on this one, gotta make sure everyone in a 5-mile radius knows that there is a trans person near them. We need the flags, the clothes, and some other miscellaneous tacky rainbow shit. That's good enough for their outer appearance, but we can't forget about their social media accounts. Give them a picru profile picture. But, don't forget what we discussed earlier, make it obvious that they're trans. Or, for simplicity, just make it the trans flag. Last but not least, their bio has to have pronouns in it.
The trans community is so diverse. There isn't one way that trans people look. And besides, we should celebrate trans identities rather than stigmatize them. And second, this kind of rhetoric implies that looking cis or passing is the golden standard.
Isn't that what trans people want, though? Don't they want to look like the gender that they feel they are? I always thought that was the whole point.
Now we should all try to look cis, whatever that means. All identities are beautiful and all should be celebrated and accepted.
I'm sorry, but I'll never call dream gender beautiful.
So now when you go to compliment someone, just tell them how great they look, not whether or not they pass.
Well, damn, I've disagreed with both of their points so far. I'm 2 out of 2 transphobic. Hopefully I can recover with this next part.
Now the reason why saying someone was born a boy or a girl is transphobic is because it suggests that there are only 2 gender options at birth, boy or girl.
Well, I've never seen anybody have non-binary on their birth certificate, but continue.
And that being transgender is a decision that someone makes when they get older. Like for example, saying that I'm non-binary now, but that I was born a girl.
This is one thing that I agree with them on. I think that it is better to say biologically female.
That's just simply not true. This statement also suggests that external genitalia determines gender identity. But again, biology and gender are completely separable. We can't know a baby's gender identity based on external features. So if you're going to talk about someone else's gender identity, make sure to ask them how they identify. Maybe they identified as a boy or girl when they were younger, but that's not an assumption you should make.
Even though you are correct, external genitalia doesn't determine gender identity. Only 0.6% of people in the US identify with a gender other than the one assigned at birth, so I don't think it's awful to assume when that assumption is correct for 99.4% of people. Also, advice to the person who made this video, add in your text transitions when you fully finish talking. I can't crop the video when you finish talking to comment without it looking janky.
Society told us that there are only 2 gender identities, man and woman, and so we've become accustomed to phrases like he or she and ladies and gentlemen.
Hello there ladies and gentlemen, this is Game Chair from Overly Dank Name. I have 2.
It's a part of everyday language. The problem with these phrases, however, is that they exclude anyone who identifies from outside of the gender binary. For example, I'm non-binary and use they/them pronouns. If you say ladies and gentlemen, I'm immediately excluded.
Those kids were so fucking bad, dude. I'm so fucking dumb, dude. I'm done with this game, man. It's fucking bad, dude. It's so bad, man. Are you kidding me? I couldn't build because of this stupid fucking crate, dude.
So in order to be more inclusive, you could steal a page from my sister Tara's book. When she greets people, she always says, "Hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals."
I support trans people and all, but you're never gonna hear me open a video with, "Hello there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, this is Game Chair from Overly Dank Name."
And instead of saying ladies and gentlemen at your formal event, you could say distinguished guests.
Also, if I ever have a formal event, I'm never saying, "Hello distinguished guests, this is Game Chair from Overly Dank Name."
Language changes and there are so many ways that we can adapt the way we speak to make it more inclusive for everyone. So it's pretty obvious that you shouldn't say transphobic slurs, but not everyone knows what terms are regarded as slurs. So instead of referencing some slurs here, we've linked a resource in the description below. We hope that you'll take some time to educate yourself on which terms you should avoid using.
That was it for part 1, and turns out that I'm pretty transphobic. Let's watch part 2 to see if I'm doing anything right.
Hello, my name is Erin, and today we're going to discuss some common transphobic behaviors. If you watch part 1 of this video, then you already know some transphobic phrases to avoid. We'll link that video below in case you want to check it out after this one. Here, we're going to discuss 5 behaviors that can be quite transphobic and how we can avoid them to become more inclusive and understanding human beings. So let's get started.
I mean, I'm inclusive, right? Everyone can watch my channel. Well, unless you're a
Being a new parent must feel incredibly exciting, and baby showers are a really great way to show support for new parents. However, when we include a gender reveal component to the baby shower, we may not realize that we're actually being transphobic. Of course, I totally understand why new parents may want to know their baby's gender, but the problem is that we cannot know a baby's gender at all because they can't tell us.
I get their point, but you have a 99.4% chance of getting the baby's gender right. And, just because you're doing a gender reveal party doesn't mean that the kid can't say the gender they feel they are in the future. That's like saying that asking your son when he's going to get a girlfriend is homophobic because you're assuming the kid's sexuality.
Gender isn't determined by biology or genitalia.
If biology has no influence on gender, then how come they agree with each other 99.4% of the time?
And unfortunately, gender reveal parties often support this idea of there being only 2 genders, which is also known as the gender binary. And as a person who doesn't fit into this gender binary, these parties can be incredibly uncomfortable and invalidating to go to.
As a straight person, going to a same-sex wedding is incredibly uncomfortable and invalidating to go to.
I want to support my loved ones and attend their baby showers, just like anyone else. And again, we don't know the gender of these babies in the first place. Who knows if they'll grow up to be cis or trans?
You don't know, but it is a pretty safe guess.
There are so many ways to be a loving and supportive parent without confining your child to a gender category, especially since they haven't even been given a chance to discover that for themselves yet. So definitely have a baby shower, but maybe take away the unnecessary gendering.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Being misgendered is something that a lot of trans people experience on a regular basis. And I want to preface this by saying that accidentally misgendering someone does not make you a bad person. We all slip up sometimes. Shifting language can be difficult, especially when you've known someone for a long time and now have to refer to them in a new way. But there's a difference between accidentally misgendering someone versus not making a good faith effort to refer to someone correctly.
I know that this is supposed to be a feminist wrecked Ben Shapiro libtard destroyed video, but I agree with them on this. If someone makes it clear to you that they want to be called one thing and you call them something else, you're kind of an ass. The only exception is if they want to be called that near pronoun bullshit. I'm sorry, but I'm not calling you daddy/daddy self or a carb/a cab self.
Not using someone's correct pronouns is a sign that you don't respect that person and that you don't believe that they deserve the same treatment you do. So as an ally, it's your responsibility to practice using correct pronouns and to hold others accountable when they misgender other people.
I don't agree with that last part though. I'm not gonna look like a cringy idiot if someone misgenders someone. That's not my problem.
We've all been taught that if a person looks masculine, then they must be a man, and if a person looks feminine, they must be a woman. But we have to acknowledge that we cannot assume a person's gender identity based on their outward appearance.
If you want to be taken seriously as a trans person, you have to put in the effort. You can't expect people to call you a girl if you look like a guy, and vice versa.
Instead, we should use gender-neutral language until we know how someone identifies. For example, instead of saying, "that man looks so lovely in his denim jacket," we could instead try, "that person looks so lovely in their denim jacket." Easy, simple, it just takes practice.
But most trans people put in the effort to pass as the opposite gender. If you look like a man, I'm calling you a he. If you look like a woman, I'm calling you a she. And if you look somewhere in between, I'm calling you a they. Now, of course, that's only if I don't know you. If I know you and you specify that you want to be called something else, I will respect your preference.
Relying on the trans community to educate you on trans issues is exhausting and sometimes triggering for trans people.
Wouldn't it be best for people to ask a trans person about trans issues? I know that sounds a bit hypocritical, considering that I am a cis person analyzing a video on trans issues and trying to show how these things aren't transphobic, but if trans people would like to comment on this video and back them up, I'll listen and take your opinions into consideration. Also, shouldn't you appreciate people wanting to learn about your issues and how to be more respectful?
I understand that your intentions are good. It's important to be educated on these topics as an ally, but sometimes you just have to do the research yourself. There is an important difference between me choosing to educate others, like with these videos, and being expected to educate because I'm trans. And I can only speak from my experience anyways. So next time you want to ask a trans person to educate you, or really any member of a marginalized community, first ask them if they're able to and willing to explain, and maybe try to educate yourself first.
I don't think anybody ever walked up to you and forced you to talk about trans issues, my guy.
There are tons of resources out there that can help you become a better ally. Using trans people as a punchline is never funny. When you make fun of trans people's experience, you insinuate that being trans is humiliating and degrading.
What are you gonna do? Commit suicide?
Some popular examples of this include cross-dressing for laughs or for Halloween costume.
I thought, according to you people, clothes had no gender?
Using gender swap filters on Instagram or Snapchat as jokes, and familiar TikTok trends such as "This is my voice, 3 weeks on Dora Explorer," which directly mocks trans individuals who use hormone therapy. This behavior transforms a trans person's journey to self-acceptance into a cruel joke. The way to combat this as a trans ally is, first, to avoid making these sorts of jokes in the first place. Next, avoid engaging with this type of content.
Well, trans allies, click off the video, you're engaging with transphobic jokes.
Finally, call out those who use transphobic humor. There isn't a safe space for transphobia.
I would give another message to the trans allied telling them to call me out in the comments, but you know they called me out and clicked off before my intro even finished. So, that's it for this video. I wanted to give my viewers a nice and long video for Christmas, and I hope all of my viewers are having a great Christmas, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a great day anyways. Like the video and watch some of my other content if you found it enjoyable. This is Game Chair from Overly Dank Name, signing out.